That's why this is peak golf, the peak spec, peak generation, and peak performance. Hello and welcome back to the Volks Wizard channel, and welcome to a car collection video. I'm currently just outside High Wycombe, heading to collect a car that I think is the peak when it comes to golf. So it's a 7.5, which is widely regarded as a peak generation. It's the Golf R, which, at least in technical terms, is the peak Golf. And most importantly, it's got peak spec. So it's got pretty much every option, from carbon leather to climate windscreen, aside from the Akrapovic exhaust, but every other option. So it's peak in those three different ways, and therefore I thought it would be good to record in this video this car, because I think you might be interested to see it as well. It's quite an interesting colour for a car with so many options, but we'll go and have a look at it in a few minutes. I'm really excited. I haven't driven a 7.5 Golf, particularly a Golf R, for a very long time. Before we get there though, I thought it'd be a good time to remind you guys to support the channel. Subscriptions have gone up really nicely recently, so big thanks to subscribers new and old, but we're still getting a lot of views from non-subscribers. So if you're one of those and you like what you see on this channel, then I'm sure you know what to do by now. Okay, well, welcome to Great Missenden in Bucks, not far from where JK from Jamiroquai lives, I gather. And welcome to what is one of the highest spec Golf Rs in the UK. I don't know its history. It's had, I think, 3 or 4 owners. It might have been a dealer demonstrator originally somewhere in Kent. It wasn't a press car, but yeah, it's a super spec. And what I'm really impressed with is that red actually works as a colour you might choose, because there's no silver on this 7.5. It's got the black mirror casings, and it all just works with black wheels, black mirror casings, black front of the roof with the sunroof, and the black inlays. Those silver bits on the 7 were a bit crap, weren't they? Although we still have silver on the grille. So yeah, there we have it, 25,000 miles. When it was brand new, it was £44,000, which doesn't sound like a lot now. That's where the Golf R, I think, starts in the range. That's why this is peak golf, the peak spec, peak generation, and peak performance. Okay, so Pretoria's background, Michelin Pilot Sport 4S tyres. We have the pan roof. Just got to be careful with cracks on these and this trim panel, which they got rid of on the Mark 8. That's one definite improvement with the Mark 8. You don't have this panel to crack. This one's all good. Probably helped by the fact it's got dynamic chassis control, which softens the ride a bit. So yeah, rental red, tornado red. Looks amazing. Actually, we'll have a look in the back. It does, of course, have the rear view camera, probably standard by this point. It's got load liner, which is always a good sign. That was fitted by the last owner. Dyne audio in there, space saver spare wheel, which isn't standard on the Mark 8. Lovely dash cam as well. So in here we have, oh yeah, carbon leather. So that still looks mint. I never knew they did electric seats in the Golf 7.5. That's really impressive. They're very Audi style. No massage yet, but who really cares about that? We have got the Pro nav. Let's have a look at the mats. Just Golf ones though, not Golf R ones. That's interesting. Carbon in the doors. So Pro nav, keyless, as you would expect. Rear cam. What else? I'm a bit rusty now. Obviously it's got CarPlay, that's standard. Heated seats are standard for this year. Actually, this is the easiest way to do it. The owner was a nerd, like a lot of us, I'm sure, are. So he's got the options here. So carbon leather, Pretoria's, black mirror glass housings, electric driver's seat we've covered. Data storage, I don't know if that's standard, but it's got Discover Navigation Pro, so no knobs on this one. Voice control, that's potentially an option. Yep, seems to work. Bluetooth standard. Dyne audio, Excite with a cool. Thanks. Keyless, yep. Side airbags, end, front, and rear with curtain airbags. That's probably an option. DCC, of course, about £1,000 back then. So you can adjust the suspension. We love that, and it's quite important on these 19-inch wheel cars. And then sunroof. rear view camera. Climate windscreen, that's a good one. Yeah, I've never really had a car with that, so that's quite nice. High beam assist, I love that. Yeah, they've got the automatic symbol on there. I think that became standard towards the end of the run. Whether that would be standard on this car, I'm not so sure. I think that is it, but correct me if I am wrong. There isn't anything else you could spec apart from the Akrapovic, which was £3,000. And for £3,000, you could have had the sunroof, the DCC, and I know something else. So yeah, it's all right to have it, but yeah, £44,000 is I think enough for a Golf back in 2019. Now Volkswagen did alter the spec of the 7.5R quite a lot during its production. This car is a 2019 model year car. At this point, lane assist and traffic sign recognition was still optional. You could argue that not having those makes this car more peak than it would be if it had them, because it's widely regarded that cars went downhill when we started having all this driver assist stuff forced upon us. Also, it's worth mentioning the performance pack, which gave you the 2-piece brake disc and the Spielberg 19-inch wheels. This car doesn't have that, but I don't think it was available for the 2019 model year. It was for the year before, but again, even if it was, you could argue that having black Pretorias is more peak than having the 19-inch Spielbergs. Right, let's go for a drive now. Okay, let's shift into drive, because we've got DSG, of course with paddles, electric parking brake comes off, auto hold is on. And we've got the dash cam working. So yeah, it's interesting that the Pro system in the 7.5 didn't have knobs, and to be honest, I actually miss the knobs that are on the standard system, but it's a nice big screen and CarPlay works really rather well with it. It's quite low though. In the Golf 8, I know, an 8.5, a lot of people hate the new screen, but it is actually much nicer having it here because you're not looking away from the road as much as you would do in the 7.5. I think the graphics are a little bit clearer as well. There's more on the screen, so you don't have to go down to the menus for lots of stuff. But you know, this isn't bad at all. Okay, let's pop it into comfort mode, because the roads around here aren't brilliant. There's a bit of an imperfection here. Oh, it's not too bad. Ooh. Yeah, it does still feel quite a stiff car. And probably the weight as well, because it's going to be quite heavy with all these bits on it. Okay, so adaptive cruise, set that, 50 miles an hour, turn it on, sets, there we go. Do we have lane assist? There's the question I didn't think I'd be asking back in 2019. Well, I can't see it. We've got the adjustable display though, active info display, which is cool. So we've got the nav in the centre, which is great, but you're never going to use nav because you're always going to be on CarPlay. Yes, I can understand why a lot of you guys love the 7.5. It still feels good in here. It's really weird because it's not as obviously impressive inside of my A4, S4, but then it feels a bit more expensive than the Golf 8 8.5, and it is, definitely. Is it feeling a little bit old? A little bit, yeah. I mean, at least we've got the digital instrument cluster, which I know a lot of you guys probably hate as well, but it brings it into the modern world. Okay, let's pop it into race mode. Do we get fake sound? Oh yes. Wow, that's like when you used to draw your airbox on your Mark II Golf. Probably all right when you're in your 20s. Does it rattle a bit as well? Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Yeah, not good, but it just suggests this car is 100% standard. Nobody's messed with that, which is fine by me. You can always turn it off with VCDS. You don't have to unplug it physically. 7-speed DSG in this 7.5. That is one of the biggest differences, I think, compared to 7. It's just so fast. Downshifts, upshifts. It's a really nice box, and I think the fact it's so smooth is good for longevity of the box as well. It's not sort of jarring so much in the shift, which is good for you, and it's good for the gearbox internals as well. Okay, let's test the sunroof. I'm not sure you're going to be able to see this on either camera, but let's go. Unlike the Mark 8 and 8.5, we have a proper knob, which is what you want. That fiddly touch thing on the 8 I really don't like. Generally like the 8, don't like that. Oh good, that's shut. That's opened, I mean. And now close it. It's a manual blind on this car, which is fine by me as well. Probably leave it open. It's nice to get the light in on a day like today. We've also got tilt. Still sounds good, even in comfort mode. There's probably a little bit of fakery, but it's not overpowering amounts, so yeah, nice. I mean, I'll probably just drive it in comfort mode all the time because the DCC, there's another red one, looks ace. Wow, that had like vents on the bonnet and all sorts. It does feel like a quality car, this one, and I think what's really important is that if you spec this car up to 44k, it doesn't feel like the options are out of place in a relatively cheap car like they can do in the Mark 8, 8.5. It feels, you know, all of a piece. Okay, bit of a country road coming up then, so I'm going to pop it into race mode. Put the gearbox into sport, which is fine because I'm going to use the paddles anyway. It's probably a little bit stiff for a British B road, but it's not too bad. But you'll probably get more out of this car setting it up with individual mode, but it certainly feels precise in this mode. Yeah. Yeah, definitely handles these hollows really well, and then I'm not going to brake. It's good, and also please note, sunroof does not rattle much, if at all. That's quite a good one. Okay, onto the brakes, 340, I think single piston still on these, that feel nice. Oh, look at this S-bend, I've forgotten how good this was. Very good. Enjoyed that. So it is really a Swiss Army knife of cars, this. Go on holiday in it, load it up. You can commute in the winter knowing you're going to get home if you put winter tires on it especially. You can go on track in it. You can do everything in it. That's the beauty of the Golf R. Let's just, I'm not going to do launch control, but I'll just show you the acceleration from 20 to 60. It's still a quick car. Things haven't really moved on an awful lot, have they? The new Golf R's got 333 horsepower. So yeah, not an awful lot in it, is there really? I think this is going to be a, ooh, good question. I think this is a 300, not a 310. Okay, now we definitely need to go into comfort mode. These roads are really bad though, but it doesn't seem to have that waftiness that you get with a Mark 7, even on 19, so 7.5 definitely seems stiffer than the older car, but they do change things like spring rates, don't really make an awful big song and dance about it. The big difference with comfort mode is the steering feels really light and glassy, which is what you want when you're driving around town. Okay, the car is now at its final destination, APS in Brackley. I'm sure a lot of you guys know these guys. They've been in business about the same time Volkswagen has, so since the early noughties. They do servicing there, car storage somewhere here, body shop there, and this is their showroom, and they've got some really cool neighbours who are, I think, moving, but check that out. It looks like a, could it be the original Steve Soper M3 touring car? Anyway, Kimura Grey RS3, it's probably in for some work. So this is the reception area. Now I'm in the market for some premises and I'm taking inspiration from here. So they've got some nice furniture, but the thing that gets me excited are all the framed prints and some really cool model cars. And these are going up on the walls as well. really cool stuff. We've got an upstairs here as well, which is interesting. So this is their showroom, not big, but they're not quantity, they are quality. So here is the R, let's just get this done then. So 25,990, obviously it's going to be fully valeted. They'll run it through the workshop, do whatever needs doing. It's come with the full dealer history and loads of receipts. Gets a year's warranty, and they will do finance as well. So get in touch with OPS Specialist Vehicles if you're interested in this car. Let's just take a quick look at what else they've got. That Ferrari's in storage. But here we have Amethyst Purple 997.2 911 GTS PDK that's for sale. That's a really cool car if you know your 911s. Just been sold. Pure grey, 3-door TCR, still with the freckles on the side of it. Reifnitz DCC, so that's probably the nice package. Still a good looking car, black roof as well. And this mini GP or something. Jesus, check out these bits. Yeah, that's an interesting car. So anyway, if you want to know more about these cars that are for sale, then go to apsspecialistvehicles.co.uk. It's always worth having a look at their toilet as well, because this is what all motor trade toilets should be like. Well guys, I hope you've enjoyed this slightly different video, a more real video, not scripted in any way. If you have, give it a thumbs up. As ever, please do comment and please do subscribe. And I'll see you for the next video very soon.